any of you who saw this and come back. Sorry about that. Had a camera issue. So try and take care of that. Alright, I got trees. No booers right now. I must have bored everybody. Well, rebooting in the middle of the stream didn't help. And I haven't announced this one. Hey, baby. Anybody walks in, I'm here. My other stream got cut off. I'm over here just trying to share. If anybody happens to come in, I'm here now. So Looks like I got a couple people popped in. If you pop by my other video, I'm very sorry. Crash wouldn't recognize the camera that was catching the feed, and so had no way of knowing how fixing it. So now I'm in here. In here, say hello. See somebody lurking there. Kind of screwed up because I shared the video to the wrong place, so there ain't hardly nobody in here. Nobody. Otherwise, I'm just kind of painting. Hello, hello, if you're in here. I see people popping in and out. What's up, Jeff? I first shared this stream and my camera crashed on me and I had to reboot. So I think I've been waiting for people to come in, hoping some people came back in. Just figured I'd get back on this. I had some of my regular work to do today. I had a pay job to do today. I thought I'd get in here and paint back on this free tree frog I started yesterday evening. But I think I got myself all mixed up because I started out and should have had a good game plan, and now I'm just winging it because, well, I got all discombobulated, as they would say. Don't know how clear that is on the screen to see. My little paper stencil I'm working with. Mm, looks like about 15 psi, roughly, give or take. At least that's what my regulator's saying. It's 15 psi. No fancy stuff going on here, just a lot of old-fashioned, plain old paint. Like all that texture right there, and it's not done. It still gives some more work, but all that was done just tiny figure eights. And when I get to a darker color, right now I'm just trying to keep them, just trying to keep a grasp on where everything needs to be, trying to draw stuff in and make sure I know where it's all going to be as I keep adding stuff. Real easy to get lost on an image like this. Start putting stuff where it don't belong. And I don't need my lines to be exactly what the reference is, but I do need to be in the ballpark. Get a little bit overspray on the outside. It's not a big deal because I'm going to tape it off and then put my background color in after the fact on this particular case. Looks like some other people popped in here. If y'all are in here, say hello. Thank you for coming by. Not as hopping as might not be that hopping today. I'm pretty random about these lives. I just kind of, I don't never really know when I'm gonna get done with what I gotta get done. So when I do these lives, it's just kind of when I'm done with my work. And that, well, that depends on how motivated I get throughout the day, how much painting I get done, and sometimes I don't have work to do, but right now I do have customer projects to get done. And day, sometime during the day, working on those, and then once I'm done with that, then I can paint stuff that I want to paint, or maybe not necessarily even want to paint, just stuff I think would be interesting to some of my followers. Doing lots of freehand stuff and lots of making up the textures. Just kind of getting the ballpark on this one. I see y'all lurking back there. Don't be bashful. Doing these lives, I count on the people coming to make it interesting. Wow, what an amazing difference. See, I was panicking earlier. I put that orangish greenish color in the earlier, and I was really backing off and thinking, oh man, that's just way too much. Shoot, now I gotta, now I'm gonna have to come back and darken it all or add more in. Such is life. All right, now I need to see exactly what colors I should be screwing around with. Digging for colors here. Excuse my language. Well, I got 5 viewers in here, and nobody's saying nothing. I gladly answer any questions, gladly talk about whatever. But I do enough talking to myself, making tutorials on camera. So I probably won't be chatting a whole lot. Hey, Merrick. Greetings. Back. And I'll be getting a couple more tutorials out here real soon. But I'm just kind of slowly transitioning to doing some more live feed. Eventually, I'll be doing them all. I'll be doing, well, I won't say all. Eventually, I'll be doing live streams, and then as well as Yeah, still doing tutorials there. Again with the homemade little dot stencil made out of poster board. Because there's lots of it. A lot of what I'm doing right now could have gone smoother online if I'd have traced all these stripes in on the and the locations of all that stuff beforehand. We could make this painting go faster, but I'm having to look at my reference pretty good and try to at least get in the ballpark of where all these little pieces go. Probably really not critical, but you know, ain't like painting a human portrait where, you know, all I got to do is look like, you know, the animal. It's not like it's got an owner that's going to come back and be like, oh man, that don't look like mine. A lot of what I'm doing right now, some of that, if you've watched my lesson before, a lot of the work I'm doing on this, of course, I could imitate the exact textures, but it would take a lot longer. And since this isn't not necessarily concerned about 100% accuracy, using those figure eight textures, a little bit of that shaky hand stuff we talked about before. Gonna have to come back with transparency over some of this stuff, because that way I can get them textures that are coming up behind it, those darker textures. I'm doing a little bit of work with opaques too. And of course, the big dots, I can just kind of go after them, and they'll get darker. I actually have to put more darks in. Got a darker layer of color that will be coming much darker. Lots and lots and lots of stuff going on in these little amphibian creatures here. Did this octopus one time, and I started on it. I was like, man, this was a really bad idea because there's so much going on. If you wanted, I was trying to do a realistic octopus, but I did. Um, there's so much going on with them. Just so many textures, so many different textures with octopus. I was like, whose idea was this? Well, how did I do that? I had about 10 hours in it, and I was pretty much, by the time I got 10 hours in it, I was like, man, I don't even want to see no tentacles anymore, ever again. I was done. What's up, John? Just in here working on this thing a little bit, trying to get people my YouTube work, my other job, one that doesn't pay the bills. Yeah. Yeah, just trying to do a little of this painting. Actually, I mean, I know I haven't colored it yet, but that's actually looking pretty smoking hot, if I say so myself. Can't really complain too much about that, considering all things considered. All things considered, yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. Mostly, I was just saying, mostly working most of this with figure eights and I don't even know how much y'all can see. Some of these lines and stuff that I'm putting in here are pretty darn tiny. And if you can, that'll just show you. But when people always asking, what do you about detail airbrushes, and it's like you don't really have to have a detail airbrush for small stuff. You got to, not what it's about. Besides, always cheap just like that. You missed it, John. That's mine. Took a thumbtack, pushed it through some poster board to make a little super tiny dot thing shield. It's actually beneficial in this case more so than any of my other ones because, well, I can keep it going too far out of place. And it took all about 30 seconds. Of course, I'm going to freehand a bunch of it in too, just because, well, I can. Yeah, I mean, long before anybody ever made commercial super tiny dot stencils, that's before there came the rage for those little dot stencils. We used to do that. What I used to do is just take, and it only takes a few minutes with a Thumbtack. What I used to do is just take like sewing needles, and I would take a bundle of sewing needles and just ran with punch holes in them for freckles and stuff like that into a piece of paper. Although I will say the Mylar stencils are awesome to have because, you know, hopefully you've not lost them. And like this one, it's quite a bit bigger hole. This is one I've got out of Mylar, which is really tiny holes. That's done with, I think that's done with a stencil burner. That's commercial. That's Tommy Hams, and the holes are quite a bit bigger. And then, of course, the one on poster board is done with a Thumbtack, so it's needle size. And he's starting to look like my little tree frog. It's just he ain't got all his color there, so he looks pretty naked. Looks like a naked frog. I guess maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. That's what it's making me think. Like my frog's naked. It's like when your dog doesn't have a collar on. You think, oh my God, my dog's naked, not wearing no clothes. I'll probably color it, come back in tomorrow. I ain't gonna stay on real late. I don't even know what time it is. 8:30. Yeah, I'm probably not even gonna stay out. Yeah, I finished up the one for my customer. I'm waiting on her to message me back and be like, hey, are you you know, I messaged her. I was like, do you need any adjustments? Are you happy with it? What do you think? And I've got another one for a customer due right behind it, but it's not due. So, I mean, most of the time, it's not. I'm usually finished way before due dates. It's usually about how needing to get the money in that motivates me to get them done. I'm usually very rarely behind on schedule. Usually, my biggest motivator is getting paid as fast as possible. The other motivator in it, because like every time, and that's how I got to do it. All these pet portraits, I got places I share those with, and so when I start putting those out, I share those pictures. That's how I get more work. But yeah, I can show you that one I just did. For it's a little canvas. For a canvas, it's pretty cool. It's yeah, that's the one I did for my customer. I actually do have a couple edges to clean up. I'm just waiting to see if she wants to make any adjustments to it before I clean up the edges. A couple little things around the hair right there. So I've sent her and been like, hey, any adjustments you want me to make, go ahead and tell me now, and then I'll finish it up and be ready to ship. If she's not happy with it, then I'll fix whatever she needs to. No, I didn't work on this at all today. It's just what's been on this feed for the last hour. Actually, about 5 minutes on another feed, but my camera had shut off and I had to stop that feed and start this one. So yeah, I've been on for like just over an hour. So all this right here, this and that's what's not recorded. But all of that right there, this whole stripe right there is just all done with figure eight, with tiny, small figure eight. And, and it's still got another color that goes on it. It'll blend and shade out. And the reason I did that with a figure eight, because if you look at it, and if you look at the reference, it's the the light spots are like dots inside it. So if you tried to use like a dot stencil on that, it would be backwards. The texture would be backwards and it would look wrong. And so, so yeah. But I still got another color there. It's got to go in there. So yeah, I've got what 2 hours I had in it last night, plus my transfer time, plus a little over an hour right now. So I've got, and that's, I mean, I'll get it pretty realistic, but I'm not going full on photorealistic. But I have about 3.5 hours in it right now, which is honestly that's a lot for me. It's the last little frog I did, which was one of my first YouTube videos ever. I think I had 3.5 hours in the entire thing, and it was bigger than this one, and it was pretty realistic. I don't think I have that video. I don't know if I still have that video on YouTube or not, but it was either my first or second YouTube video. It was a frog. So, of course, it was a different type of frog, and it was face on, little happy guy. Yeah, so a lot of these textures, the reason I'm able to get as much done as I have is, a lot of this is done. I'm doing it by using the figure eight motions and some of those textures, freehand textures that I just went over in a video the other day. So I use a lot of that, incorporating a lot of that in this painting because ultimately, um, it's a tree frog. I mean, like I was saying that earlier. I was like, nobody's going to come along and be like, oh man, that doesn't look like my dog has, like if it was a portrait for a customer or something, a pet, they'd be like, oh no, I have that stripe is 3 inches long across his nose on the right hand side. Or if you were doing a human portrait, of course, it's super critical for you to get exact, um, a wrinkle out of place on a human can make a tremendous difference. So, whereas a wrinkle out of place on an amphibian creature, nobody is gonna know unless as long as it's falling in the right direction and what, in the general direction and flow. But yeah, he's getting a little bit of his texture going in. A lot of texture in there right now. Base layer. Had to get it in there because my eyes were messing with me. Because it's got this that green color, even that the reference shows, like this color of this reference, you know, is it's a really odd color. So it's like there's oranges and greens mixed together in here. So it really is a weird color. So when I was laying it in, I thought I was laying it in way too much. And as you can tell, I'm like, I barely have any coloring in there at all. So I actually put some base color in there, but I'm not anywhere close to what it needs to be. You know. But that's okay because it's easy to add paint. It's easy to add color. You can always add more color. And while you can't erase stuff out, get rid of stuff, you know, it might not look the way you exactly want it to. So yeah. And of course, these stripes will get more color too. But what I'm going to do is I'm putting them in so that I know where they're all at. Then I'll come back with my other colors. Now yeah, it's not copper colored at all. Um it's really weird to try to describe it because it looks like orange like when I start isolating it, but then parts of it look green. And of course, I can mix the exact color, and I did, and I don't even remember what I mixed earlier when I was mixing on it. But there's so many textures in there, you got to be careful. Yeah, yeah, it's not a copper. It really isn't. And like I'll show you some of these colors right here when I was messing around with it, and you know, like that's way too vibrant, but it's pretty close to what the color is in the background. Let me see. Actually, this is I mixed up some of it. But what makes it hard because it's just all that texture in there. Like, see, this orange is just a little bit too light. Then you get into that and you're just too vibrant, so you start desaturating. I have a color sheet somewhere where I mixed up color that's pretty close. And then, so yeah, so I'm looking at that. It looks like it's one color, but then this color right here is that's not the one. This is a green. Of course, it's way off. Yeah. So I sprayed 3 or 4 different test patterns. This color right here looks green when I spray it, but it's not green, and it's actually really close to the base color inside the back area over there. So, but it's really a greenish. It's like a mustard green color. So by looking at it, guessing at it, I realized I was way off, and I'm usually pretty good about. I'm pretty good at guessing roughly color because I do some painting where I'm just off the cuff, whatever. Like this whole section in here that looks green, and that right there looks green even now isn't green at all. The paint I put on there has no green in it whatsoever. And all this stuff in here, that's almost the color it's going to be, and it's a very tan color, but it's the colors around it when I start bringing those colors down on top of it that'll make this start standing out. That lip color is almost exactly what it's going to get, and this gets some purplish kind of color back in here and on the belly. But once the other colors go around it, you'll start noticing how that you get that skin-like, frog-like skin texture on the bottom because once you get some color around it to see, plus there's a big shadow's got to go under there. But yeah, colors around things influence things so much. that, it makes it really hard for your eyes to see. And like actually, that's the other thing I gotta be careful about because I just mixed up a blue and sprayed the background in just because I wanted something there when I worked on this, and I'm actually gonna I'll mask this off and then with Brisket or something, and then spray the background over it to clean up all the edges and get my background in the way I want. And but the blue that's in there now is probably about a shade off of the blue that's supposed to be. So just looking at that next to that makes, you know, points that make it look entirely different. Yeah. But it is color crazy like that. One little thing, one little change, you change one color and everything else looks different. Let's see. I'm gonna draw a couple more textures in here, and then what I'll probably do is call this a night, and I'll put this up, and then I'll put another. I'll plan to be back live streaming, so that more people come catch this as I go tomorrow or the day after. I have a little bit more work, regular work to do too. Oh, actually, so yeah, I'm getting a lot of my textures in. This is probably not the smartest way to go about it, the way I'm working it, because other people are gonna have to work more transparently or be really really careful with opaques. But it's the way I did it this time. It's just because that's the way it just kind of landed this time, and I got a lot more darks to go into it. A lot more dark stuff, and then I'm gonna actually come in. I got some more work to do back on this eye when I get done with all that, but I'm gonna wait until I get towards the end. I've got some orange coloring going in here. That's not in there right now. Give that eye that goldish, sparkly look going to it. So yeah, but yeah, I've been on for a little over for an hour and something, so I'm gonna cool out for the night. That's I mean, you can always catch it. Like I said, it's pretty boring because most of the time I was in here, nobody was in here talking. Um, because the video I did post first didn't my camera feed. I didn't realize my camera feed had stopped, so I had to reboot my program, and yeah, that sucked. I was like, I'm over here talking, and people could hear me and they could see me, but you couldn't see anything I was painting. So all you could see was a still image. I was like, couldn't get it to fix. So yeah, but I appreciate y'all popping in, and I'm gonna book out of here for the night because this is kind of just an impromptu again, and yeah, I'll be better on these live streams and plan on scheduling them a little bit, and what I'll do is start like having a however many live streams it takes to finish up a painting. I'll go through an entire painting, you know, work it on live stream and eventually get to where, yeah, that's what I'm going to do with this one is go through the whole thing on live. And every time I work on it, I'm just going to pop in. But I have to kind of balance that with all the other crap I got to get done. So thanks again, and I will see you guys soon.